Welcome back, dear friends, to the oasis where stardom meets heart and rumor turns into revelation. You're watching Turkish series Stars, the channel that lingers in the quiet spaces behind the flashbulbs and listens for the feelings most people miss. If this is your first visit, make sure you're subscribed, and if you want to be even closer to our little circle, the join button is calling your name. Hit like, leave your thoughts below, and let this community know you're here. Tonight, we pull back the curtain on a moment that melted through the glitz and found something vulnerable and pure, a scene that began as a premiere and became a confession. The cinema world loves illusion, but every now and then a crack appears and truth walks in without asking permission. At the premiere of Alina new film, the red carpet wasn't just a glossy path to the theater, it turned into a stage where real feelings took the lead. Alina stepped out not just styled to perfection, but lit from within, as if a private joy had slipped under her skin. Cameras clattered, voices rose, and yet a softer current seemed to shimmer around her, the kind that tells you there's a story close to bursting. The questions tossed toward her started with the film, the craft, the usual talk that keeps emotions at bay. But the moment the conversation turned to her recent birthday, the air changed. She paused, steadied herself with a breath that felt like a doorway opening, and the world around her faded to a hush that even the press line couldn't puncture. When she spoke about Alp Navras, there was nothing rehearsed in it. Her words came with that delicate tremor that arrives when the heart insists on telling the truth. She called him attentive, gracious, the kind of man who notices what doesn't ask to be seen. On paper those descriptions sound simple. On her lips, they carried a weight that made everyone lean in. She wasn't listing adjectives, she was remembering. For a brief moment, she seemed to step out of the premiere and back into the surprise he had created, reliving it like a cherished scene she never expected would be written for her. Let's pause here for a moment, dear Turkish series Stars family. When was the last time someone did something so precise and tender that it felt like they were speaking your language without words? Not the obvious grand gesture, but the small, deliberate proof that they know who you are underneath the headlines of your life. If you've had a surprise so personal it brought you to tears, tell us below. Your stories keep this space human, remind us that love isn't limited to famous faces. And if you're feeling the pulse of this moment, tap that like button so more romantics find their way to us. Back inside that glittering evening, Alina's memories came pouring out in soft detail. What Alp planned wasn't a party as much as a carefully built museum of her life. She described how he gathered pieces of her history as if they were priceless artifacts, how he turned a room into a path through time. Old family albums appeared with the dust gently wiped away, candid childhood photos sat beside snapshots fans have never seen, and the soundtrack was stitched from the songs that quietly followed her from one chapter to the next. Every corner whispered her name. The magic, she said, wasn't the spectacle, it was the care. The unmistakable feeling that he had been paying attention for a long time, noticing the tiny things that most people overlook. In a world that stares without seeing, his gesture said, I've been looking at the real you all along. And of course, the moment such tenderness gets even a sliver of daylight, the room fills with questions. You could practically feel the collective inhale as reporters tiptoed toward the question that shadows every serious love story in the spotlight. Did the surprise end with a proposal? Did the timeline of romance just cross a new threshold? Alina didn't issue a flat denial the way many do when trying to slam the door on speculation. She smiled, looked down with that private blush that belongs to people in love, and let a mischievous spark play at the edge of her gaze. Keep this part between us for now, she hinted, as if sharing a secret with the entire world and still somehow making it feel intimate. The ballroom charged with electricity. Whether or not a ring glinted that night, everyone could sense the solidity of what these two share. It was subtle, but unmistakable. The kind of certainty that makes the rumor mill spin even faster. Yet beyond the whispers, the conversation drifted to something more profound, partnership. Alina was candid about the grind. Overnight shoots that blur into sunrise, the pressure to be perfect when you're running on caffeine and willpower, the quiet moments when self-doubt threatens to swallow your courage. In the middle of that storm, she said, Alp stood like a harbor. Not dramatic, not performative, just there. Sometimes you don't need rescue, you need presence. Someone who says I've got you, with nothing more than steady eyes and a hand you can trust. In an industry that feeds on images, their bond sounded refreshingly simple: respect, patience, and the daily decision to show up for each other. That kind of devotion isn't flashy, but it lasts. And, if you ask me, it is more romantic than any rooftop dinner under 1,000 candles. The internet did what the internet does. Within minutes, clips of Alina's teary, shining eyes moved like wildfire. Comment sections bloomed with warmth. People wrote that the joy in her face spoke louder than any caption, that you can't fake that glow no matter how talented you are. Fans from every corner of the world gathered under the same post and remembered what it feels like to root for love. It wasn't just gossip anymore, it was a communal exhale. In a time when almost everything feels filtered, the unguarded happiness of one woman who feels cherished was enough to remind millions why we still care about these stories at all. And somewhere away from the floodlights, work had been happening for weeks. Sources close to the couple shared that Alp took the lead on every detail of the surprise, coordinating quietly with the people who know Alina best, tracking down photos nobody else would have thought to find, mapping each song to a moment only the two of them understand. He didn't outsource the sentiment. He rolled up his sleeves and curated her joy himself. He said before, in his own calm way, that surprising her helps him feel closer to her, that every little discovery about who she's been makes him more certain about who they are together. It's not a headline-grabbing quote, but if you listen carefully, it tells you everything about the foundation beneath their romance. This leaves us at a fascinating crossroads, dear Turkish series stars community. We've loved following Alina and Alp through the quiet and the thunder, and your messages prove how invested you are in their journey. Tell us whose story you want unraveled next. Which Turkish couple do you believe hides a depth that deserves the same care? Are you curious about Afra Sarıkoglu and Mert Ramazan Demir and the chemistry that keeps tongues wagging? Do you want a closer look at the timeless mystique around Burhan Saat and the elegance that never fades? Your comments shape our roadmap here at Turkish Series Stars. Say the word, and we'll bring the spotlight exactly where you want it. As the premiere night wound to its final notes, Alina offered a line that felt like a soft manifesto. When the right person finds you, hiding stops feeling necessary, she said, with that disarming honesty that made the evening feel sacred. It wasn't a theatrical declaration, it was a woman quietly acknowledging her certainty. She left the venue with the glow of someone who's not performing a version of love but living the real thing, flanked by her team, serenaded by fans, and buoyed by a calm that doesn't register on camera but changes everything anyway. The carpet was rolled up, the cameras powered down, and yet the truth she revealed kept moving through the city like a gentle echo. We've reached the end of today's journey, but you know how this works, the story is still unfolding. Alina Boz and Alp Navras have reminded us that even in a world of scripted scenes, the unscripted ones are the ones that stay with us. If this intimate glimpse into their chapter made your heart beat a little louder, make sure you're subscribed to Turkish Series Stars and tap the bell so you never miss the moment when the next secret becomes a headline. Consider joining our membership to keep these deep dives coming. We build them with care, and your support keeps the lights burning. Thank you for your time, your voices, and your faith that love stories are still worth telling. Stay romantic, stay curious, and until we meet again, remember, whatever feeling you seek, whatever truth you hope to find, Turkish Series Stars will be here, listening for the heartbeat under the noise.